I were to say, hey, you. No, that's just too informal here to start. Hey, you. Okay, Celia, just start all over from the beginning. All right. You take the cell phone, you dial the number. Where did I put it? The number? Where did I put the number? Stop. Calm down, Celia. Just calm down. Oh, I swear to God, if I lost the number, I'm going to hang myself. That's right. Tomorrow's newspapers will read Celia Carley, ornithologist found hung from a hook. Right. What hook? There are no hooks in here. There are no nails, no connections. Oh, no, want to hang themselves? Didn't they find an old woman hung from a doorknob? Where did I read that? Where did I see it? Oh, yes, it was the U.S. Catholic magazine. She was 82 years old. She took the belt of the nightgown. She put a slip knot in it. And then she tied the other end to the doorknob. And pulled up her knees right up to her chin. And with all of her weight. Crack! Oh, God. Hot. Oh. Oh, my God. Here's the number. I found it. Woo! Celia Carley doesn't have to hang herself after all. She found the number. All right. Just start from the beginning. Right. All right. You take the cell phone. You dial the number. And then, what do you say to your cohabitant? Oh, no, you fool. You don't even know where she lives. How could she be your cohabitant? Well, we don't share the same home, but we do share the same body, the same man. I exit from that end, and she enters from this end. I sneak off from that end, and she sneaks off from this end. Excuse me. Oh, yes, hello. Oh, I think I left my comb. Oh, really, don't bother. Please, come on in. No, that's no good. That's no good. All right, so you just start from the beginning. Take the cell phone and dial the number. Oh, okay. Should I let it ring twice? Or is it too much to let it ring 3 times? What if she doesn't answer on the third? What if she doesn't answer at all? Oh, and then I am lost. What if he answers? Oh. Yes, hello. I was looking for Celia. Celia. I recognize your voice. I told you to never call me at home. And then I would just turn white as a sheet. And then he would start coughing. He would start coughing and say, wrong number. And then he would just hang up on me, coughing as if he's infected with consumption. No. If he answers, I'll just hang up. But he would never be home at this hour, unless he came home right at that moment. And, excuse me, darling, I hear your phone ring. I'll answer. Oh. Instead, let's imagine that she answers, and she has this high, silvery voice. Hello! And I say, yes, hello, you don't know me. And she says, I don't talk to strangers! Boom! She hangs up on me. And then I would vomit. Because rudeness makes me vomit. Oh. But George says his wife is self-assured. Self-assured. Now, what would he mean by self-assured? Yes, hello. I heard you're self-assured. Oh, that would just be offensive. What I meant to say is that for years, George and I, we spent time together. That's not nice. We are together. No, that's worse. We sleep together. Oh, that's dreadful. It's brutal. Oh, what do I say? In times of distress, just take your time. Take your time. Have a nice drink of water. Although he would be having cognac instead. Sure. All this is happening because he just wouldn't pick up the phone and dial the number. I have to have a strategy. I have to be ready. Right? All right. Pick up the phone, dial the number, one right after the other, so they don't overlap. All right, just 542 0092. Oh my God! Damn it! Those 2 zeros are going to bring me bad luck. I can feel it. Oh my God! The five two zeros? Those are like, they're like two eyes spying on me. They're like two boiled potatoes. They're like two eggs with butter on them. Ugh. Oh, but that two at the end, that is really going to trip me up. Because, oh, Celia, you're somebody who trips up. You just do. You trip on your dress, you trip on your shoes, you trip on your shadow. Celia Carly, you're a disaster. Amen. But even a beautiful little bird like the golden oriole trips up. Yes, the golden oriole. Aureolus aureolus. He walks with his little thumbs pointed backwards. Or the Italia penguin. Picosalis Italia. He also has a pitiful little way walking. But not as pitiful as Celia Carly, ornithologist, 40 years old, green eyes, blondish hair. Oh, but why? Why do I insist on calling that bitch, who in 3 years hasn't even dreamed of looking me up? Oh, all right. Celia Carly, ornithologist, long life, perched ass. It is time to start behaving like a green woodpecker. Yes, the Picus viridis. You have got to beat that wood until you perforate it. All right, dial the number. Hello, says Miss Self-Assured. Not really. Hasn't dreamed of calling me, not in 3 years. Not once. Yes, hello. Dear Amelia, it has been 3 years since George and I, 3 years that George and I sleep. Oh, that's just nasty. Oh, George and I, but why can't I say sleep? Why? George and I we're in love. I said it. We're in love. We are in love. I love him and he loves me, and we are in love with each other. And, well, we thought about living together, but, George says that you wouldn't be able to handle it. Probably try to kill yourself because you depend way too much on him, like a little girl depends on her mother. You don't do anything without his permission. You don't go to sleep if he doesn't come home at night. In other words, you don't breathe without his permission. All right, my dear Amelia, I want to tell you straight. I do not like deceptions, deceit, ambushes, lies, tricks, traps, tantrums. No, I want to tell you the truth as if I would tell myself. Yes, you have to appreciate my honesty, dear Amelia. What if this is all just a maneuver to stir the already stagnated waters, dear Celia? Dear Celia Carly, living at 13 Main Street, zip code 10023. Damn it! There are those 2 zeros again. They follow me. They follow me. Isn't my license plate number is 290055? Thank God for those 2 5s. They make up for those 2 holes that follow me everywhere. It's like having an Australian kiwi following you around. Do you know that bird can take off your foot with 1 peck? What if this is all just utter hypocrisy? What, am I pretending to tell the truth so that I can learn the truth about their relationship? Is my dear George still in love with his wife? I mean, I say because there are new uncertainties building up on top of old uncertainties, like the perfume that he wears, for example. He leaves it all over the bed, and it is not his, but hers. Those long hairs, black hairs that I find on the bed sheets, they're not his, but hers. And I find them everywhere. You have never even seen Amelia Virgili, Celia Carly. Lovely smile, incredible, smooth, sensual voice. You have never met Amelia Virgili. Long black hair, long slender neck. How do you know she has a long slender neck? Well, my father would say, I know, because of the scent she wears. Lemon verbena. The scent a man would wear. The scent that says, long, lean, sporting body. I had always suspected that George's wife was just beautiful, with a mean, incredible beauty. Oh, I hate you, Amelia Virgili. No. No. I am way too curious to hate. I am as curious as a ray from Brazil. Or even, let's be clear, as a free-range chicken. Please, just stop, Celia. All right, just pick up the cell phone. Dial the number before you drive yourself crazy with all these inane stories. It's fair. It's fair. It is only fair. Right? All right. Okay. All right, Celia Carley, ornithologist. Here's the cell phone. Here's the number. Here's the finger. And here's the voice. Smooth, but not too much. Sensitive, but not too much. Strong, not too much. And happy, but not too much. God, I can't. But I must, right? I must. Celia Carley, ornithologist, 13 Main Street, go! Yes, hello? 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 Yes, hello? Yeah, hello. No, hello. Yeah, excuse me. Yes, I wanted to speak to Amelia Virgili. You don't know me, but hello?
I was waiting for you, Celia.
You were waiting for me?
George told me you would call.
Damn it! How did George know?
George knows you very well.
And he said that Celia Carley, ornithologist, 40 years old, blondish hair, green eyes, would call you tomorrow?
Well, not exactly like that. He said, I think Celia will call you one of these days.
Damn.
Oh, hello?
I'm here. Yes, hello.
Oh, I thought you had left.
Where?
Did I offend you?
Oh, no. I was just trying to understand.
I know George wants to live with you.
Well, yes.
And you want to live with him?
Well, for years I have. But I don't want to hurt you, Amelia. May I call you that? See, it's really okay to be alone because I've lived by myself for years. It wasn't for George. But Amelia, I just don't want you to suffer. Right? Do you understand? Amelia? Hello? I just don't
I'll
want...
send him to your home with his books and his shoes. He's got more than 100 shoes, did you know? 126 to be exact.
How many?
126.
126.
Yes, 126.
No, I didn't know that.
They look so nice, all in a row, polished.
126.
126. They have quite a smell. For you, they'll all seem the same, but for him, they're all different. But don't tell him that, because I wouldn't want him to get depressed.
I didn't know he suffered from depression.
Oh, with you, perhaps it'll pass. I know he's okay with you. But with me instead, once in a while, he's down in the dumps, as he puts it.
When is he down in the dumps?
Oh, I'm certain he won't feel down in the dumps if he's with you.
In fact, he has never been down in the dumps with me.
I'm sure he'll be all right with you, Celia.
Thank you, Amelia. And you?
I'll get by.
Since when did you know about me?
Since the first day.
Did George tell you?
Oh, yes. He had this oscillating walk like if he was drunk. I told him, you're having an affair with someone. He said, yes, forgive me.
Did you forgive him?
Well, I thought the affair would end soon.
Well, I'm sorry, Amelia.
I thought he had given up.
Well, he disappeared after the first time.
He had given up.
He then returned after about a month.
I told him, "Are you still seeing that woman?" He said, "Yes, forgive me."
Oh, and you...
I just understood that there was nothing I can do. Just wait.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Amelia. I have hurt you, and I'm sorry.
Don't worry. I'll send him to your home. He'll be there for 1 year. And then we'll organize a relocation back home.
How do you know that?
Oh, his first lover, she was Rebecca. She was tall, brunette, a model. The second one was Joanne, a photographer, chubby.
And you have always organized the relocation?
More or less.
Oh, gosh. You know what? You are just torturing this poor man.
It is really he who tortures me, and I assure you he does it with subtlety.
Well, I will not allow him to be sent back to you to be tortured in that way.
Oh, I forgot. There is a box full of medicines. Remember, he needs to take the antidepressant during dinner.
The antidepressant.
And vitamin C.
Vitamin C.
Also, a magnesium and zinc chelate pill.
Magnesium and zinc chelate pill.
Yes, every other evening he needs to take this sweet bowel laxative.
Sweet bowel laxative.
Wait. Remember, he only sleeps with recently pressed bed sheets. Do you have a good electric iron?
Yes.
And another thing, do you read when you go to bed?
Sometimes.
He can't tolerate the light when he's in bed. Cover the lamp with a handkerchief, which can be green. He can't stand the color green. Hello? Hello?
Oh, I know what kind of person you are, Amelia. I thought that you were a poor woman in love. But no, you belong to the owls, to the order Strigiforme, night birds of prey who have this curved beak, eyes in the precise frontal position. They don't see what's alongside them. No, they don't see anything around them. They only see the prey, only the prey. And what an acumen they have to see it. No, you are a Strixeluco, and you have hunted him down, you have aimed at him, and you are devouring him to your liking. I am so sorry, Amelia. I'm sorry. I did not mean to say that. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. I didn't call to tell you that. I called to tell you that you are a Chirdos Marula, and that we are going to be friends, right? And, well, are you listening to me, Amelia? George has been nothing but generous, okay? He has never said anything bad about you. I'm sure he's never said anything bad about me, right? We are both going to love him. We're going to both stay around him. We're going to both stay close to him.
Celia Carney, ornithologist. Goodbye.
Wait a minute, Amelia, wait a minute. Hey, you did not tell me what to give him for his headaches, because I'm sure a man that's being tortured like this is going to suffer headaches like a Parisa. Who is it?
The movers!
What?
sure. Let them say what they want, those others. Me? My conscience is clear. I have respected the clause. I did exactly what that nice old gentleman wanted me to do. I sacrificed myself for 20 years. If he left the money and properties to me, it's because I earned them with the sweat of my brow, or almost. When I came in this house, I was 17 years old. I was in the flower of my youth. And that nice old gentleman, Zap, picked the flower. My mother insisted that I do everything he asked. So that first night, when I saw him next to my bed with that big nightshirt, and he asked me to sleep with him because he was cold, it seemed like a natural thing to do. What would it cost me? I was nice and warm under the covers. He was an elderly man, moreover. He had a heart condition. So they said in town. I felt sorry for him with that big nightshirt. He reminded me of one of those white plaster saints that are used in processions. What saint? The minute I got into his bed, he became a devil, an unbridled devil. He kept me awake the whole night. He kept saying to make him happy because he was a poor old man with no one but me. Instead, he had a bunch of brothers, sisters, nephews, in-laws, even a godson who was a priest. But at that moment, what could I say? So I had to make him happy and let him do what he wanted. That's how it began. So the next morning, I ran to my mother to tell her what had happened. But she wasn't shocked at all. As a matter of fact, she was happy. That's why she had sent me to work for the old man. She figured he was a widower with lots of money and no children. If he got attached to me, maybe he'd leave me a dowry because the old man was kind, and at night he called me to keep him company. But Mama, he is so ugly. My dear daughter, a rich man is never ugly. In this world, only poverty is ugly. Besides, he is over 60 years old. He won't last long, sick as he is with his heart. Well, maybe he did have a heart condition, but surely he would give me a heart condition. He was always alive in bed, jumping like a grasshopper. Me, I'd wake up in the morning with a headache and a pain in my back. And there was something else. I had always dreamed it would be a handsome young man who would make love to me, not a bald old fat man with no teeth. But now it had started. There would be no turning back. Besides, I was happy in the house. The work wasn't strenuous. He was always very kind to me. He would bring me lots of presents. Sometimes he even let me sit at the table with him. The relatives who had noticed his kindness towards me were livid. In front of him, they were all smiles, but when they left, the things they said. I could care less about the gossip, but I was beginning to get tired of that old man. The years were going by for me, too, and what was I getting out of life? If at least I had been his wife, I could have cuckolded him like all wives do. But I wasn't his wife, and he could have thrown me out any day. So I started to pray that he would die. No suffering, quickly, like a heart attack. I even made a novena to receive this grace. First to the Madonna, but seeing that she wasn't listening, perhaps because she met St. Joseph when he was an older man, I turned to St. Rita, the saint of desperate causes. I used to go to church every day. The old man was very happy to see how devoted I was, even though he never went to church, because he had a fight with his godson, the priest, who told him that our relationship was scandalous. The sisters would send their sons to the house to tempt me, hoping that I would give in and the old man would send me away. But I, when those rascals would raise their paws towards me, would slap them with no mercy. When I would tell the old man about it, he would laugh and say I was a good girl. But he wouldn't die. The more time passed, the healthier he became. I was starting to think St. Rita was doing it on purpose. So many people were dying, some very young. He, instead, grew healthier. Then one day, God willing, he got sick. It wasn't a heart attack. St. Rita wanted to do it her way. She struck him with pneumonia. He was sick in bed for a week. The relatives were telling him that he had lived in mortal sin for such a long time because my mother and I had influenced him. He had to repent and send me away. Poor mother, they were even blaming her. But he always wanted me by his side. Suddenly, he improved. So much so that one day, in order to prove to me how well he was feeling, he tried to satisfy his desire toward me. And in that precise moment, perhaps because of my loving ministrations, his heart finally did its duty and stopped. You can't imagine the fright it gave me. When the godson, the priest, came in, he struck me with his gaze and said that I had killed the old man. Well, maybe it was true, but he couldn't prove it. The important thing was he had forever left this valley of tears. The funeral was beautiful. I wanted to go because I like funerals, but my mother wouldn't permit it. I stayed at home, and now I was very happy. Finally, I was in control of my life, free. I was dreaming about my choices when the relatives came back from the funeral. The notary called us into the living room to read the will. The nice old gentleman had left all the properties only to me, but there was a clause. I would lose everything if I would have a relationship with anyone who, in total, it said exactly that, in total, was younger than he was when he first met me. Namely, 60 years old. I almost started to scream. Here I was, dreaming about all the fun I would have with young men in my life. Was I destined to have only old men? This was disgusting. This was cowardly. I couldn't sleep anymore. I couldn't eat anymore. My eyes were always full of tears. So much so that in town they must have thought I was really attached to the old man. My mother would comfort me. She would say, young or old men are all alike. You should be happy. You had so much from life. She tried to be convincing, but she had married my father when he was just 23, and before and after that, she hadn't any limitations. Yes, she would say, but you have the money. But what good was money if I couldn't have the man I wanted? Moreover, it seemed as though there had never been so many beautiful young men in town. My mother was always next to me like a watchdog. I had to walk a straight line even more so than before because even the relatives were spying on me. For sure, they would have loved to take away my inheritance. I used to sit by the window and look out. It was springtime by now, and a regiment of soldiers, young boys in their 20s, was camped in the woods in front of my house. It's not easy to resign oneself in front of so much of God's bounty. The more time passed, the more I felt useless. All I did was curse that damn clause in the old degenerate that had thought it up. Then one day, it was a beautiful spring day. I went to the country with my mother to inspect one of the properties I had inherited. We were almost hit by a tractor driven by two beautiful blonde sunburned men, naked to the waist. They looked like statues, and not only were they beautiful, they were also identical. How marvelous! They looked like two peas in a pod. I had to close my eyes not to be tempted. Then the farmer arrived and invited us to the house for a glass of wine. And so in passing, he exclaimed that those were his two sons and they farmed our land. As children, one could not live without the other, and now, 30 years old, they were still inseparable. They looked so much alike because they were twins, real identical twins born from the same egg. At that moment, an idea struck me. The clause. What did it say? I couldn't have relations with men who were, in total, younger than 60. So I figured, if you add 30 and 30, what do you get? 60, right? How stupid of me not to have thought of it sooner. With the twins, I could get my reward, all the while respecting the words of the clause. So without saying anything to my mother, I left and went straight to the stable. So I finally attained the dream of my life. I finally discovered love. From that day, I started to live. But now the relatives say that I've broken the contract. They want to bring me to court. But why? I had respected the will of the deceased. The old man, poor thing, hadn't made himself clear. That clause he put in there was to reward me for my patience. The words in total are clear. 60 means that in total, I can have 2 men of 30. Or 3 of 20. Maybe even 4 of 15. The old man did not mean one man, but lots of men, and all of them young. Let them dispute the will. The clause is very clear. In total.
They say that I don't like women, but I admire them. I find them so pretty, so refined. How can anyone resist a charm? For example, they have a way of looking at you with those long curly lashes, those eye-dilated pupils, the eyes slightly elongated by a pencil under the long lashes. Even those that are cross-eyed, they help themselves with all those makeup tricks. That's why they call it Venus's eye. And Venus, the goddess of beauty, was cross-eyed. Can you imagine the perfection ordinary women can allow themselves? For women, makeup is of capital importance. They spend their time in front of the mirror in order to correct imperfections and to make their assets more prominent. They only care about being beautiful, pleasing, at any price. If men did the same thing, since men, aesthetically speaking, are 100 times more beautiful than women, this is a fact. Let's look at the Greek statues. Apollo, the destroyer. Man is beautiful just as he is, natural. While women, and to think there's still some people who believe that a man, in order to be elegant, must be unnoticeable. While for women, eccentricity and extravagance are assets. There is no justice in this world, at least as far as sexes are concerned. Legs, for example. If a woman simply has a well-turned-out leg, everyone says, Look at those legs. Those are legs. But man's legs. Who looks at them? Okay, we have the problem that we cover them with pants. Women instead show off their hairless, massaged, shiny legs in those fabulous silk stockings. If a woman has like a simple nice leg, everybody says it's exceptional. For example, I have very good, but I don't show them. I don't massage them. I don't wear silk stockings. I don't show them. I mean, I never show them off. At least almost never. Sometimes I do on the seashore when everyone has bare legs. But people tend to admire women's legs, which are not that beautiful after all. They're too rounded. And all we see is silhouette. And if they're too thin, just a matter of bones covered by skin. What counts in the nude? It's the muscle. Women's body have few muscles. They're soft. Some of them are harmonious, but they don't have the strength or the vigor of the man's body. The breast. God knows what they think of having breast. It's only a mammary gland, covered by flesh, more or less hard. I get so angry at those young girls who parade with their pointed breasts like so many rifles. I get a great kick from those nursing babies who attach themselves to those breasts. They bite them, they squeeze them, they make them bleed. They reduce them back to their natural function, which is, after all, not about being beautiful, but about sustenance. And we won't speak about those women who wear falsies. And even if they don't wear falsies, they help themselves with all those wonder bras. Anyway, it's our fault. We've been made slaves to fashion. It wasn't like that at the times of the Greeks or the Romans. Those little tunics, they would make the whole fight free, slanderizing it, making the physique more evident. Forget the miniskirt. Women think they've invented it. It's our fault. We've been humiliated by fashion. Pinstripes, black suits, gray slacks. Is it fair that only women should wear beautiful things? Let's look at nature. She knows what she's doing. Among animals, the male had the longer feathers, the beautiful feathers, the bigger horns, the thicker coat, the colorful scales. No wonder why some women, in order to call attention on themselves, they go around full of frills, like Christmas trees, precious fabrics, jewelry, furs. And let's now talk about lingerie. They wear with such irritating effrontery. Lacy, transparent slips. We men will be provocative too if we dress that way. They don't allow men to wear lace, silk, or crepe Georgette underwear. You can see why. Yeah, you can see why I admire these women. I'm literally fascinated by them. I lose my head. And when I get my hands on one of those showy girls, I can't control myself. I just can't. I have no peace until I can pick one up and bring it to a nice, dark corner. I look at her, I caress her, even if at times her voice irritates me, her stupid laughter. So I feel the fabric that covers her body. I smell her perfume, and I touch her neck. The neck is the part of the body we love the most. I love those long ivory throats touched by bluish waves. How I love to touch a woman's throat and to hold it tightly, as first gently, then more powerfully, even more powerfully, always more tightly, until she doesn't resist anymore. She voluptuously abandoned herself to me. As her breath disappears, her voice and breath become feebled, and a blossom flowing. And she becomes feeble. She doesn't fight anymore. She stopped resisting. And she belongs to me. And then, what a joy to see all those marvels she wears, to touch all those silky stockings and lacy underwear. There are hundreds of things to discover in a woman's purse. Rouge, powder, color pencils, perfumes, delicate handkerchiefs. That's when I realize how irresistible a woman can be. And a man who is so naive can defend himself. He's fascinated by them. In those moments, when I hold the inanimate body of a woman in my arms, I understand. And I cry. I cry like a baby. Because I have the proof right there in my arms that ours is a lost cause. A man before a woman will always succumb. So all I can do is dry up my tears and leave with a small souvenir. I'm telling you all these things to convince you that it's not true what they say that I don't like women. It's not true at all. Absolutely.
qualcuno mi aiuta, come si dice in inglese, la base d'asta. Oh, Italian people and American people. Never in TV, in the movie, look that somebody, no, this piece is starting from $100. That, forget it. So, it is. Value is more. Vito, $100. I want to say just 1 second. We continue. That, so, who buy these, we give him or her the letter tax deductible because you are no profit organization. I'm serious. So you buy that and also a letter deductible for the tax. Okay, so Vito, maybe I'll from no. You are the artist, io sono, non so cosa sono. Vabbè. I am direct, just from where? Oh. No, ma è meglio più vicino, cioè lo volevo far vedere più da vicino. Just a little bit close. Dice close. Va bene, allora. Somebody told me, the salesman told me, Vittorio, when finish, we close the curtain. Because people want to understand that close the curtain, finish the show. We have the program with the things, you know, somebody follow, no? Okay. I said, no. Because everybody believe, trust us. Maybe somebody, they substitute when the curtain closed and substitute the, no. Okay, allora, Vito 100, Vito, this is. Nobody, yes, the cost is, I'm sorry, is not 101 $20 each, allora $120, okay, Alessandro. Nobody else? 125. 125. One minute. 150 Vito? Allora. 151. Ma how is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20? All the night? No, okay. Okay.